Namaskar and welcome to India This Week. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. First, a very happy new year to you and your loved ones. In the next half an hour, we take you closer to the big stories of the week. Stories that map the rise of new India. Developments that portray how India is on the move despite all hurdles and challenges. Glimpses of rich cultural diversity that make incredible India a lived reality. And how celebrations of 75th year of independence continues as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let's begin with the top stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates key metro rail project in Kanpur with a focus on maximizing urban mobility. Hails Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's governance on improved power situation of Uttar Pradesh. PM also attends 54th convocation ceremony of IIT Kanpur. India fight against COVID gets major boost as centre gives emergency use authorization to new vaccines, Covovax and Corbevax, and an antiviral drug, Molnupiravir. Union Health Ministry directs states for seamless rollout of vaccination. After 10 years, India all set to chair the counter-terrorism committee of UNSC in January 2022. Counter-terror committee was established by Security Council resolution in the wake of 9/11 terror attacks. India scripts history at Centurion as they trounce South Africa by 113 runs at Supersport Park in Centurion. This is India's first win at Centurion. Kohli gets distinction of being the first Asian skipper to lift the Centurion Test. And first up, a look at how India is on the move. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the 54th convocation ceremony of IIT Kanpur and issued digital degrees through in-house blockchain-driven technology. Prime Minister stressed that 21st century is completely technology-driven and self-reliant India is the core of true independence.
जब बात शेयरिंग की हो, शेयरिंग ऑफ जॉय और काइंडनेस की हो, तो कभी कोई पासवर्ड नहीं रखिएगा, खुले दिल से लाइफ को एंजॉय करिएगा.
Living every moment of life is what living truly is. Prime Minister presided over the 54th convocation of IIT Kanpur. Addressing the event, he said, the students must focus on finding solutions through innovations and optimum use of technology while not ignoring human emotions.
आप इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स पर जरूर काम करिएगा, लेकिन इमोशन ऑफ थिंग्स को भूल मत जाइएगा. आप आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में जरूर सोचिएगा, लेकिन ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस को भी याद रखिएगा. आप कोडिंग करते रहिएगा, लेकिन लोगों के साथ अपना कनेक्ट भी बनाए रखिएगा. अलग अलग लोगों से, अलग अलग कल्चर के लोगों से आपका जुड़ाव आपके व्यक्तित्व की ताकत ही बढ़ाएगा. ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि जब इमोशन दिखाने की बात आए तो आपका मस्तिष्क करे HTTP 404 page not found.
Globally known for its innovations, the prestigious institution is home to several unicorn startups. Prime Minister urged the students to continue working hard to do things with resolve and build a self-reliant nation.
मेरी बातों में आपको अधीरता नजर आ रही है, लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं आप भी इसी तरह आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए अधीर बने. आत्मनिर्भर भारत पूर्ण आजादी का मूल स्वरूप ही है, जहां हम किसी पर भी निर्भर नहीं रहेंगे.
Prime Minister issued digital degrees to 1,723 students through in-house blockchain-driven technology. Prime Minister also presented degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa, medals and prizes to the students. Prime Minister remarked that at a time when India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, India is home to more than 75 unicorns and has emerged as the second largest startup hub in the world.
आज भारत दुनिया का दूसरा सबसे बड़ा स्टार्टअप हब बनकर उभरा है. अभी हाल ही के एक रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक भारत दुनिया के कई विकसित देशों को पीछे छोड़कर तीसरा सबसे बड़ा यूनिकॉर्न कंट्री बन गया है.
Self-reliant India and Atmanirbhar Bharat is the core of true independence. Prime Minister urged the students to take resolve in building new India and choose challenge over comfort.
The word he said, choose between challenges and comfort, always go for challenges. That's very motivating.
PM has really inspired the students here, and he talked just like one of us, and we never felt such an inspiring. We felt like being one of him.
After delivering address at the main building of IIT Kanpur, PM Modi made an impromptu visit to another building of IIT Kanpur to greet and interact with students who were not part of the convocation. With Nishant Saurabh, Bureau Report, DD India.
And moving on to developments on the Omicron front, in view of the increasing cases of COVID-19 in Delhi, a yellow alert has been implemented with immediate effect in the national capital. Union Health Ministry on Tuesday engaged with states and union territories to review the rollout of vaccination in a bid to battle the Omicron variant surge. Here's more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday announced the beginning of a major vaccination drive after the new year for children above 15 years and booster doses to vulnerable sections of the population. Close on the heels of this important announcement, the Union Health Ministry on Tuesday engaged with the states and UTs to review the rollout of vaccination in a bid to battle the latest Omicron variant surge. The states have been asked to ensure seamless vaccination rollout for 15 to 18 years and precautionary dose for identified vulnerable categories. Vaccination for 15 to 18 years to start from 3rd of January 2022. Precautionary dose for healthcare workers, frontline workers and comorbid 60-plus group from 10th of January. Doctor certificate prescription not required to establish comorbidity. Doctor's advice and indication for 60-plus persons to consult with their doctors before opting for a precaution dose. Walk-in and online registration through CoWIN facilities to be made available for 15 to 18 years. CoWIN registrations to begin from 1st of January and on-site registration from 3rd of January. States advised to establish separate dedicated COVID vaccination centers for 15 to 18 years age group, separate vaccination team and separate queues for 15 to 18 years age group to be maintained at all other CVCs. On Tuesday, in yet another significant development, DCGI approved American firm Novavax's vaccine candidate Covovax, biological e-COVID vaccine Corbevax, and antiviral drug Molnupiravir for emergency use authorization in India. Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia tweeted on Tuesday announcing the approval of 2 more vaccines under emergency use authorization and an antiviral drug Molnupiravir. Currently, India uses Covishield, Covaxin and Sputnik V in its vaccination program. Corbevax, to be made by Hyderabad-based Biological E, is a protein subunit vaccine, and Covovax, to be manufactured by the Serum Institute of India, Pune, is a nanoparticle-based vaccine. Corbevax is co-developed by Biological E, Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, United States, and American company Dynavax Technologies. Covovax has been approved by the World Health Organization (WHO) under its emergency use listing. Molnupiravir is to be used on patients with mild and moderate disease and also easily administered as a pill. 13 companies in India are set to manufacture this drug. It has been approved under emergency use authorization for treating adults with COVID-19 who have high risk of progression to the disease. Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister on Tuesday announced yellow alert in the national capital in wake of the sharp spike in Omicron positive cases. The restrictions follow Delhi's biggest single-day spike in infections in 6 months, with more than 496 new cases reported. Elsewhere in the country, as a precautionary measure, some states have swung into action by clamping curbs ahead of New Year celebrations. With inputs from Nitendra Singh for DD India.
Moving on, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh dedicated to the nation 24 bridges and 3 roads built by Border Roads Organisation in 4 states and 2 union territories through a virtual event from New Delhi. The highlight was inauguration of India's first indigenous class 70-140 feet double-lane modular bridge built at the height of 11,000 feet at Flag Hill, Dokala in Sikkim, and Chinsutle Demchok Road at Umlingla Pass over 19,000 feet in Ladakh, which also holds the Guinness World Record of world's highest motorable road. The projects were inaugurated by Rajnath Singh. They've been completed on important road access and laterals along the northern and eastern borders of the country. The minister described indigenous double-lane modular bridge as a shining example of Atmanirbharta and appreciated the fact it has been developed at a much lower cost and can be dismantled if need be. And now let's talk about the rise of New India. India will chair the Counter-Terrorism Committee of UNSC in January 2022 after 10 years. The Counter-Terror Committee was established by Security Council Resolution 1373 adopted unanimously on 28 September 2001 in the wake of the 9/11 terror attacks in the US. The committee was tasked with monitoring implementation of Resolution 1373 that requested countries to implement a number of measures aimed at enhancing their legal and institutional ability to counter terrorist activities at home and around the world. This includes taking steps to criminalize the financing of terrorism, freezing any funds related to persons involved in acts of terror, deny all forms of financial support for terrorist groups, suppress provision of safe haven, sustenance or support for terrorists, and share information with other governments on any groups practicing or planning terrorist activity. The Securities and Exchange Board of India on Tuesday approved several new measures to further reform the initial public offering market (IPO) in the country. Regulators board approved mandatory disclosure by companies of their intended acquisition target in case where funds are raised from public for the purpose of such acquisitions. The rule comes in the light of several new age technology companies who in their draft red herring prospectus have mentioned the use of fresh funds for acquisition purpose without giving any further details. The regulator said if a company chooses not to disclose its intended acquisition targets, even as it aims to use the funds for inorganic growth, the amount for such objective and amount for general corporate purposes shall not exceed 35% of the total amount being raised. Further, the regulator has placed new limits on the amount of shares existing shareholders of a company without a track record intending to IPO can sell under offer for sale. A first of its kind event was held in Jammu and Kashmir that could be key to attracting investments and economic growth in the region. It was Union Territory's first real estate summit that saw the launch of several key portals which will facilitate the development of real estate assets in the region with enhanced ease of doing business. 39 MOUs were also exchanged, 19 in residential sector. Here's more.
The Union government has remained focused on the development of Jammu and Kashmir after abrogating most provisions of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution in 2019, which gave the region special status. Efforts have been intensified to launch new and complete pending projects as well as bring investments into Jammu and Kashmir ever since. The Union Territory's first real estate summit was held on Monday at the Convention Centre in Jammu. The occasion saw Union Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri launching an affordable rental housing complexes scheme at Sunjwan in Jammu. The portal for e-auction of assets, J&K Real Estate Regulatory Authority portal, e-launch of a housing scheme and the Jammu and Kashmir Mission portal. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha remarked on the occasion that these initiatives will boost investments, jobs and GDP of the region manifold. The LG expressed hope on generating 60,000 crore rupees worth of investment under the new J&K industrial scheme.
न्यू इंडस्ट्रियल स्कीम पिछले दिनों जम्मू कश्मीर के लिए भारत सरकार के सहयोग से बनी थी और मैं ईमानदारी से बात कहना चाहता हूं कि उसके शिल्पी देश के गृह मंत्री आदरणीय अमित शाह हैं, जिन्होंने खुद रुचि लेकर के उसमें चिंता की थी कि अच्छी इंडस्ट्रियल स्कीम बने। जिस तरह इंडस्ट्री की रुचि दिख रही है, मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि 60,000 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट ये आने में देर नहीं लगने वाली है।
Addressing the summit, Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh, said J&K has seen a lot of change over the last 3 years. The Union Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said that real estate is the second highest employment generating sector and there's a lot of scope in the region for its development.
The real question is, the industry is moving fast, but are we also moving at the equal pace? And the real question is, the investors that you see in this room are ready. Are we also ready to receive them? And the real question is, there's a lot of physical activity happening around us today, as you've seen for the last 1 hour. But is there also any activity happening in the mindset? Or the mindset is the same?
States which have done well on real estate are the states which are on the top of the economic index anywhere in India and anywhere in the world. That a conference of this kind, which brings together the leaders of the real estate industry from throughout the country, Maharashtra, Gujarat, the South, can take place, is in and of itself a matter of great joy and satisfaction.
The summit is considered to be integral to the process of attracting investments to J&K. It witnessed several discussions related to investment opportunities in affordable housing, hotels, tourism, finance, education, arts, culture and other sectors. It saw 39 MOUs being exchanged, of which 19 were in the residential sector. Apart from implementation of the Model Tenancy Act, the summit also saw the launch of the Housing Board and launch of the Housing Portal for colonies under the JDA. MOUs signed also included those meant for the construction of residential colonies for central government and UT employees. With Ramesh Raina in Jammu, DD India.
And India created history in Centurion as they defeated South Africa by 113 runs at the Supersport Park in Centurion. This is India's first win at Centurion. Jasprit Bumrah picked up the big wicket of South African captain Dean Elgar as India drew blood early on day 5. Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Siraj, Ravi Ashwin dented the Proteas with the ball for Team India.
Bumrah's theory coupled with magic deliveries, KL Rahul's 100 and a brilliant team effort on the ground of Centurion scripted history for Team India with a win against South Africa by 113 runs for the first time ever, breaching Fortress Centurion. Bumrah, who sent Elgar back to the pavilion, did the trick for Team India, ensuring the record win. Well, not only this, Bumrah joined Kapil Dev in the elusive list in Test cricket, amassing 100 wickets away from home and becoming the 6th Indian pacer to achieve the feat, joining the likes of Kapil Dev, Zahir Khan and Ishant Sharma. Whereas, on the other hand, Mohammad Shami was no less, who in his 55th Test match also took 9,896 deliveries to claim 200 Test wickets. Talking about the performance on day 5 of the first match of the 3-match Test series, the Proteas started the day on a strong note, scoring runs at a brisk pace. Bumrah removed captain Dean Elgar on 77, that brought some initial shock to the Proteas at home ground. Mohammad Siraj then joined the act and cleaned up Quinton de Kock on 21. Mohammad Shami also picked his first wicket of the day in the form of Byan Malda as India stood 3 wickets away from scripting history in the Centurion. Reaching the Centurion fortress, where in the last 26 years South Africa played 26 matches and won 21, Team India brought home the victory under the leadership of captain Virat Kohli, who was aiming for a victory with strategic placement of 5 bowlers in their team lineup. India, who started the year 2021 on a winning note, breaching the Gaba fortress yet again, proved themselves with winning the unbelievable Test match for the first time at Centurion. With this, the team looks confident and well in shape. That will also reflect in their World Test Championship rankings. Sports Desk, DD India.
And time now for some glimpses of India's rich cultural diversity in Incredible India. Known for its rich traditions and culture for centuries, a new chapter was scripted in Kashi this week as 3-day Kashi Film Festival began. Festival showcased glimpses of Hindustani classical music, dance and memories of famous philosopher poets, writers, musicians and the Banaras Gharana. Union Information Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur was the chief guest at Kashi Film Festival, which in the holy city of Varanasi. The second day of the film festival saw many stars from the film fraternity attending the event. Many stars from Bollywood, including legendary film actress and MP Hema Malini, were honoured by INB Minister Anurag Thakur. And now let's talk about Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. In this edition of Saga of Freedom Struggle, we remember Subhash Chandra Bose. On 30th December 1943, he hoisted the national flag first time at Port Blair's Gymkhana ground, declaring it as the first region of India to be freed from British rule. We'll also pay tributes to freedom fighter O Khiang Nangba. He was martyred on this day in 1862. And also remember freedom fighter and educationist Kanhaiya Maniklal Munshi, who was born on 30th December 1887 in Bharuch, Gujarat.
On the 30th of December 1943, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose hoisted the national flag for the first time at the Gymkhana ground, now known as Netaji Stadium in Port Blair, and announced the islands to be the first Indian territory freed from British rule.
तूफान हिंद लाएंगे वो शान हिंद लाएंगे.
Netaji named Andaman Islands as Shaheed and Nicobar Islands as Swaraj and appointed INA General A.D. Loganathan as the governor of the islands. The Azad Hind government was no more only a government in exile, but had its own land, own currency, civil code and stamps.
We also remember Jaintia freedom fighter O Khiang Nangba, who was martyred on December the 30th, 1862. O Khiang Nangba was born in Jobai, and unlike other freedom fighters of the region, he had no royal background and was a common farmer. Though he was only a child when the British annexed the Jaintia kingdom in 1835, he was greatly disturbed by the discriminatory policies of the Britishers. The British initially adopted a policy of least interference and left the Jaintia people almost entirely to themselves for a period of more than 2 decades. However, by 1860, they started increasing the tax burden on the Jaintias, which created a turmoil amongst them. Jaintias rose up in a fierce rebellion in 1862 under the leadership of young O Khiang Nangba. Nangba emerged as a great organizer and kept his identity secret to avoid arrest.
He managed to outwit the British intelligence service and started gathering all the Dolois and Sirdars without causing any suspicion. However, the Jaintias were ultimately defeated because of the superior might of the British. In the unequal fight that ensued, hundreds of Jaintias were killed and O Khiang Nangba was betrayed, captured and hanged publicly on December the 30th, 1862. We salute the great freedom fighter.
We also remember freedom fighter and educationist Kanhaiya Maniklal Munshi, who was born on the 30th of December 1887 in Bharuch, Gujarat. He is the founder of the renowned educational institution Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in 1938 with the blessings of Mahatma Gandhi.
Munshi was a good student and topped his BA and LLB exams. He was influenced by revolutionary leader Sri Aurobindo Ghosh to join the freedom struggle. While practicing law in Bombay, he joined Annie Besant's Home Rule League and met many leading freedom fighters of the time, such as Surendranath Banerjee and Mahatma Gandhi.
In 1927, he was elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly, but after the Bardoli Satyagraha, he resigned under the influence of Mahatma Gandhi. He also participated in the civil disobedience movement and was imprisoned twice. Munshi was elected again in 1937 Bombay presidency elections and became the Home Minister of the Bombay Presidency and helped suppress the communal riots in the state.
After independence, Munshi was elected member of the Constituent Assembly of India and worked with several committees, including the Drafting Committee, Advisory Committee, Subcommittee on Fundamental Rights, and the Ad Hoc Flag Committee that selected the flag of India in August 1947.
till his death in 1971, Munshi remained committed to the nation. We salute this great patriot.
And with that, we conclude this edition of India This Week. Have a great year ahead. Namaskar.